call the January 3rd, 2023 North Liberty Planning Commission meeting to order. Can I have a roll call vote, please?
Ahern,
Here.
Bathke,
Here.
Janeezer,
Here.
Heisler,
Here.
Staber, Vincent,
Here.
Willer.
Here.
Item number 2, approval of the agenda. Can I have a motion?
I'll move to approve the agenda.
Motion by Heisler,
I'll second that motion.
second by Willer. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Great, we've got the agenda approved. Item number 3, public hearing on zoning map amendment. Let's start with a staff presentation. Ryan?
Okay, so this is very briefly, Steinler Orthopedic is requesting a rezoning from Office Research Park to C3, which is our higher intensity commercial district. Same location, west side of Kansas, just about a quarter mile north of Forever Green Road. The C3 district, as you know it now, is not available to them at the time when they rezoned. We talked about some development concepts with them, and they thought that the C3 district would allow them to do everything that they want to do, and possibly some other uses that are allowed in the C3 district. It's not so much geared towards just office development, and allows for a much smaller lot size requirement. So it's my understanding that nothing has really changed with the proposed development, just allows them to subdivide in a manner that's a little bit more better for them. And Will with RDG's, the applicant's representative, is here, just if you have any questions for him. But we did have a neighborhood meeting in December. We just had one person that attended, just had some general questions, but no objections or anything like that, none written or anything like that.
Okay. And so then we do allow for a formal applicant presentation, but it's not necessary if you don't want any applicant presentation.
I just want to say thanks for considering the application, and it doesn't really change Steinler's project at all. We're still looking for essentially the same size and shape of building, single story for their clinic, surgical center. That's why I said a little bit more flexibility with the layout of the parcels on the site.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And then we open for public comment as there is no one else. Okay. Questions and comments from the commission?
Nothing.
Anything I show?
I guess the only thing I had, Ryan, was I think you had mentioned before that with the C3 being opened up, I think you even anticipated this to be a very common occurrence, and Office Research Park might even phase out at some point.
Yeah, I do. We'll see how this year goes, but it might be reaching out to those property owners and just seeing if the city could administratively rezone them, especially with the direction our new comprehensive plan's going. It's less about separating uses and having them, and more about mixing uses. And obviously that promotes walkability and things like that. And that's more contemporary planning.
I do see there's a finding and a recommendation on page 5 of our packet, and the suggested motion, I think, goes over to page 6. There, if anyone's interested in making a motion.
I can move that the Planning Commission accept the listed finding and forward the zoning map amendment to the City Council with a recommendation for approval.
Thank you. Motion by Heisler,
I'll second.
second by Ahern. Can we go ahead and have a roll call vote on that?
Willer,
Aye.
Vincent,
Aye.
Janeezer,
Aye.
Heisler,
Aye.
Ahern,
Aye.
Bathke.
Aye. Great. Item number 4, public hearing on an ordinance. We'll start again with Ryan as a staff presentation.
Okay, so we started this, again, just a small ordinance update, but we found a couple of things in chapter 165, zoning code administrative, and 180, which is a subdivision ordinance that we wanted to change. And so we took the opportunity to put a couple other items that are in my zoning ordinance parking lot on there. First, in our subdivision ordinance, normally the way developers construct subdivision improvements is they get preliminary plat approval, construction plan approval, construct the improvements, and then once the city's in a position to accept those improvements, final plat's given. There's another method which you can get construction plan approval and then bond for those improvements. and get final plat approval first. We don't see it very often here. We've had one do it. We have another that's looking to do that. We're not opposed to this, but there is language in the current ordinance that says performance bond. And through discussion with Grant, a performance bond is much different than, say, an escrow or something like that. So we are proposing to delete the language performance bond from the code. Doesn't mean we can't accept performance bond. It just doesn't compel us to do so. And we want to be in a position that it's acceptable to us, essentially. And, you know, if somebody goes belly up in a construction project, we've got to be able to access that cash to finish the project. And that's our biggest concern with these types. So that was the reason for that. During the site plan, I realized that with the, with the moratorium, there was a rezoning we just did next to the water tower. There was some for RM12, and it's labeled as commercial on the current land use map. So I'm fixing that says that would be allowed in commercial district. Again, where we're going with the new comprehensive plan is allowing for a mixing of uses, so it would be consistent with the new comprehensive plan. And then with 165, we wanted to clarify that we may need right-of-way or something like that with respect to your development. And so we just felt it was pretty important to have that articulated in the code. And then the last was to increase the amount of sign area in residential areas from 25 to 50 square feet. And this is mainly your subdivision signs. So, and just above 25 feet's really small. So 50 feet's not that big, but allows it for it to be a little bit bigger, a little more flexibility. So I think that sums it up.
All right, and I'd open it to public comments, but I see no one in the audience. So questions and comments from the commission?
I do have one question about that 8A, the letter of credit, escrow, performance bond. So I see performance bond is struck, but what does approval by the city entail? Does that go before council? Is that
It will eventually.
Okay.
Yeah, it will eventually, but
okay?
I think we just want to, yeah, so you have construction plan approval and then you have developer's agreement, which says, look, if you construct all of these, or whatever,
Right.
you cash and bond, then we will issue final plat.
Okay.
But yes, it does go in front of city council.
Okay.
Does say later on the form and type of instrument needs to be approved by the city attorney and the city
Thank you,
council.
okay.
So,
Could have read a little further.
no, that's all right.
I'd rather ask you guys.
It's a good question and one the reason this is in front of you and Ryan alluded to it, we've spent a great deal of time on a recent project and different attorneys or insurance companies had a different definition for performance bond. And Grant's definition was a wheelbarrow full of money. And not everyone was on board with that. So the letter of credit and escrow are certainly that.
Sure.
Any other questions?
No.
If not, I'd entertain a motion to recommend all the revisions as presented to us in the packet, to recommend them to the city council.
I move that the planning commission accept the listed finding and forwards the ordinance amendment to the city council with a recommendation for approval.
Motion by Vincent,
I'll second that.
second by Janizer. Can I have a roll call vote?
Heisler,
Aye.
Willer,
Aye.
Janizer,
Aye.
Ahern,
Aye.
Vincent,
Aye.
Pathke.
Aye. All right. Next item, I have approval of the previous minutes. Is anyone willing to motion for that approval?
I'll move to approve the previous minutes.
Motion by Ahern,
I'll second the motion.
second by Willer. We can have a voice vote. All in favor of the approval of previous minutes, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Great, those are approved. Ryan, old business.
No old business.
Any new business?
I never know if I should talk about this in our new business or old business, but comprehensive plan obviously wasn't on the agenda. We're going through the final draft right now. I sent out the link to the first one. We gave them comments, didn't substantially change, but we do have another draft. So we'll go through that and send it out well in advance. Hope to get it in front of you in February. Very, very pleased with how it's turned out so far.
I had a question. There was a much publicized Pizza Ranch location and entertainment center that's kicking around. I was surprised we hadn't heard anything for as much as they kind of publicize. Usually it's the other order.
Yes, it is.
Weird.
We're still working with the developer on site configurations, and I think a newer use has kind of evolved as of late. And so I think the original plan was for it to be on this agenda, and we just kind of put the brakes on that and said, hey, let's make sure we've got this correct. So that's currently what we're doing. I think you'll probably
Is that on the south end, on the Penn Street side of that development?
yes.
I had to look up the name. I'd forgotten the name of the new street. It was in the. I'm like,
Oh,
I couldn't find the street anymore.
Saratoga,
Okay, Saratoga.
on the west side there, where the new
Oh, I think it was the east-west.
Oh, okay.
Like Haynes or something like
Hayes
that.
Lane. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's coming together, but these things take a little bit of time.
Well, I can tell you construction on that larger development continues every day. I hear it, and the dogs keep me aware of the action going on over there. All right, well, we'll look for that. And you said February for the comprehensive plan, but
That's the
do you have
plan.
enough on the docket for a January meeting? It is. Okay.
You scared me. 'cause
No,
I'm
this is
quick on-
December. I missed December.
Yeah.
I apologize.
No, no,
Okay.
yeah.
Next month.
Time machine.
Yeah, really.
I'm just happy I put 2023 on everything. So
There you
far.
go.
So
There you go. You passed that one. Okay.
We
Well,
can amend the previous minutes next month to fix that.
Correct it.
Yeah.
To this is January, right? There you go. Okay, well, if there is nothing further, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I move to adjourn the meeting.
Motion by Willer,
I'll second.
second by Ahern. All in favor for adjournment? Signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Good. We're adjourned.